and journalist and women's advocate Gretchen Carlson is on a mission to help women across the country. The former Fox News anchor filed and won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against then Fox News chairman and CEO Roger Ailes for sexual harassment. She has emerged as an advocate for women empowerment. Now she has a new documentary on Lifetime next week called Gretchen Carlson, Breaking the Silence. She's uncovering the untold stories of sexual harassment and abuse all around the country. Gretchen is live in New York this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. So go ahead and start off by telling us about this project.
Yeah, so I really wanted to focus on the every woman story across this country because after my story broke, I found out that this was a pervasive epidemic. And it wasn't just well-known journalists or famous Hollywood actresses. It was in every profession. And nobody was paying attention to those stories as much. And so I traveled the country over the summertime and talked to fast food workers. We talked to 3 women who have worked or still work at McDonald's, and they are alleging that abuse happened there and harassment happened there. Many times, other television outlets shy away from covering these kinds of stories because big corporations have a lot of power. But we decided, and Lifetime decided, to be brave and cover this story. So these are exclusive interviews that will be airing Monday night during my documentary. And I really just wanted to give credit to all of these women who have been silenced for so long.
You said, there are people from all walks of life that you spoke with about this. What are you hearing from these women?
The stories are all too eerily similar, that if they were harassed or actually assaulted on the job, that when they went to complain, that nothing was done. And that it ended up being that they were the ones oftentimes that were let go from their positions or had their shifts changed, or, that they became the problem. And suddenly now they are also feeling the courage to come forward and have a voice, and they wanted to speak to me during this documentary. And that's what I've been encouraging women to do for the last 2.5 years, that if they can learn anything from my story, that if they come forward, that sometimes the outcome can be positive. And by talking about this issue more and more, we as a society and culture can hope to fix it as well. And that's why we felt that it was just so important to really delve into these stories that nobody has told before. So we really crisscrossed the country and went from New Orleans to Kansas City to St. Louis to California to really focus in on these stories that nobody had told before.
And it's definitely something that's not easy to talk about, but the name says it all, Breaking the Silence. Are we making progress?
Oh, yes. I mean, look, I've described this time that we're in right now as a cultural revolution. And to make social impact changes in society, that usually can take decades. So the idea that we have come this far in a short period of time, I think is really revolutionary. And I think this documentary is going to break even more ground because, as I said, we're taking on corporations and big name businesses that are going to potentially have to answer to some of these allegations. And the more reporting that we're seeing on this and the more courage that we're giving to women to come forward, the more that we move in that positive direction to change our culture for our children.
All right, Gretchen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And the documentary does air next week, January 14th on Lifetime.